Well, hello, lovely people, and welcome to today's pick a card reading. I just got a new deck mailed to me last week, and I'm super excited to use it. So, we are doing a reading today inspired by the deck. It is called the Story Cards deck. It's this thing over here. And we will be doing a reading with the general topic of what's the story of this situation that you're inquiring about. Now we are gonna be keeping it as general as possible. So this situation you are thinking about can be relationship, career, or whatever else wise that's on your mind. And as you can see, there are 3 piles to choose from, 3 different kitty stickers. So pick the one that you feel the most drawn to and let's get into your cards. Hello pile 1. If you chose the super cute kitty sticker, then this is your part of the reading. I have put tarot cards on this side and like the story cards on the other side, and we'll get to those in a minute. So basically what we are doing here is going to be, like I said, the story behind your situation, and the spread will be looking at like the main issue or character in the situation, the conflict, the past, present, future, and the resolution of the situation basically. And like I said, I will try to keep it general so it can apply to whatever situation you are inquiring about. So let's get into it. The first card you received, which is basically the main issue or the main character in the situation, is from the tarot the 3 of Wands reversed, and from the other deck it is the confidence card. So it seems that the main issue that started this situation or that made the situation difficult, or in whichever way you're experiencing it, had to do somehow with your lack of self-esteem and believing in yourself and in your capabilities regarding this. So there was something surrounding your confidence that proved to be the let's say the seed that started this situation. There was probably some kind of delay also in this thing, exactly because of this fear that was blocking it from moving forward. Then if we take a look at the second position, which is the conflict position, we have the Ace of Swords and the Soulfulness card. Now, with the combination of these 2 cards, I am wondering whether maybe a big part of the conflict in this situation was a conflict between thoughts and feelings regarding it, so to say. Because with the Ace of Swords, it is a card representing some kind of clarity we receive, some kind of new spark of idea, even some kind of genius idea that comes to us. It's just mental clarity hitting us all of a sudden. And with the Soulfulness card, it is a card that can speak about a depth of emotion and being able also to show that depth of emotion and being really involved in something. And because both cards are coming up in the conflict position of the spread, it makes me want to say that maybe those 2 parts of you were conflicting, like the logical part of you that was probably telling you to do one thing, and the emotional part of you that was involved in another aspect of the situation. Or it could be that the other way around, that the emotional involvement itself is somehow hindering that mental clarity, which would also be helpful to have in the situation. And as to the past position of the cards, we got the Ace of Cups as well as the Wildflower card. Now, this is giving me the vibe that before the current issue, like the current conflict here happened, like before the lack of confidence and the lack of clarity happened, there was a point in time in the past when things looked clear and they started. So the Ace of Cups, on one hand, is a card which signifies some creative juices flowing, or also like interpersonal communication flowing, like relationships being synced and basically happening naturally, developing in a positive way. And with the wildflower card, the thing is that wildflowers are a breed that can basically grow everywhere. The idea is that the wildflower is this really resilient thing, and it's not going to get stopped in its tracks just because the environment is harsh. So there was a point in the past where before those issues happened, this situation had started to develop, and it was of course based on your efforts as well, because with the wildflower it's not like I said, it's not that the nature that surrounds us is in any way necessarily helping this out. It's internal effort. It's like this lady who is creating something between the palms of her hands. This was something coming out of your effort, but it just seems that it grew up to a certain point and then it got blocked by those issues that we were talking about, like confidence, self-esteem, not being afraid of dreaming bigger than you currently are, and like those fears blocking you in one way or another. With the two cards in your present position, we have the Lovers on the tarot side and the Balance card. And I would say what this is showing to you for the present of this situation is exactly that you are starting to get a grip, a better grip on the reality of it, and you are starting to slowly find the balance in it through one or more of the possibilities, either in balancing out your relationships with a person or multiple people, which are then somehow assisting you through this situation, because with the Lovers card it can potentially, of course, signify some kind of like romantic relationship in our life. If not, then at least a platonic close connection, because in the Balance card on the other side of the deck we also have multiple people that are interacting with each other. It's very possible that this is exactly what the cards are depicting for you, like balancing out through the involvement in relationships. But it is also possible that you are just finding the balance within yourself, because the Lovers card in specific can talk about us getting our values aligned, like our internal values. The Lovers card asks of us to examine what is important for us and not listen to some kind of external force trying to persuade us one way or another. So potentially, if you were being swept away by this internal force up to this point, then this is the point now that you're starting to clear it off. Next up, in the future position, on the tarot side, we have the Judgment card, and on the Oracle side, we have the Surfer. So what this is giving me, the way you will be moving forward with this situation will have to do with some kind of uncomfortability on your side, where with the Judgment, Judgment, with the Judgment card, there is this potential that you might even know already in which direction the wind is blowing. You're just maybe still not there, ready to listen to it and to take this direction, but either way, this is the direction that the situation is moving towards. And there will be some kind of uncomfortability in the sense of, even if you look at this card, like it very much gives the feeling that the lady is underwater and that she's trying to like look up towards getting out of the water, I guess, and to breathe. And because with the surfer card we have similar imagery where he is getting into the deep water, about to tackle the waves, there will be something about you exploring a deeper layer, maybe a more hidden layer of your psyche, and not being afraid to dive deep into those waters. Like you can make it out again. It's just that you need to take the dive to explore like the bottoms of the cave to know what is there and that there's nothing scary basically, in order to be able to then be calm about it. You know how when you are in the sea and if you don't see anything underneath you, you start to freak out that there's some kind of monster or something. And of course, if you can take a look and just see that there is nothing to be afraid of there, then your mind would be at ease. I think that this is also the direction that this situation is heading towards for you, but you will have to go through some kind of minor or major uncomfortability to move towards it. And once you take that dive, you will get a better understanding, with the help of the judgment, of what exactly is being asked of you and in which direction exactly you should proceed. This is also basically mirrored with the last card that came up for you with the resolution. On the tarot side, we have the Page of Swords, and on the other side, we have the Explorer card. And with the Page of Swords, this is basically talking about you needing to learn something new on the one hand, but you can't learn something new unless you go after it. And this going after it will have both the aspect of like theoretically learning about something new, like exploring something new in your mind, inquiring about something new, reading, maybe trying. But there will also be the point where you would be asked to walk the walk, like our lady over here, while she has her nose in the books. Her ideas, her genius, her light bulbs are carrying her over this really scary looking, it's not a bridge, it's basically a stick between two, what's it called, thingies. I can't think today. Anyway, once you start exploring this new thing, it will also get you over that scary ledge. It will help you to the other side. With the Explorer card, I would say absolutely the same. I would even say that the Explorer card is a little bit scarier than we have on the tarot side, because even here you can see that the lady, let's say, is wearing this mask for outer space, which basically again speaks about the potential of being maybe in not the best outside conditions and it being scary for you. But again, there is nothing to fear. You have the what's it called? You have the equipment ready to help you against the harsh conditions. You just need to take one step after the other. And like I said, for you, those steps would start with, of course, exploring the things a little by little in your mind, inquiring about them, reading a little bit about them, potentially also sharing your ideas and interests with other people so you can get some feedback and ideas and recommendations on them. And once you get lost in the ideas, those ideas will help to carry you further along the maybe bit difficult terrain. Okay? This is basically how this situation of yours has and will continue to unfold. I hope that this was also helpful and I wish you all the luck. Hello, pile 2. If you chose this cute little kitty with the fish tank, then this is your part of the reading. So let's get into it. What is the story behind your situation? So the first card that we have for you, which came in the position of like main issue or main character in the story, we have on the tarot side the sexy devil man, my favorite, and on the the oracle side we have the rooted card. So basically what this is giving me is that if it is a main character in the sense of another person, it is a person that very much represents the devil energy in your life. So somebody who is tempting you in some direction which is far from optimal for your life and development. If it is not a person, if it is just the main issue then surrounds just you being somehow caught up in an addiction. And it amplifies this need to somehow break free from this addiction. It could be an addiction that has to do specifically with material stuff. It could have to do with relationship stuff. It doesn't really matter, but there is something in your energy which is stuck and needy in a way, the way that, you know, a junkie is needy of taking their dose daily of whatever it is they are addicted to. So this is the main issue that comes up in the situation. And then if we take a look at the two cards that, and also with the rooted card, because I think I didn't mention it, it is basically the same, that you are somehow stuck in some kind of situation. You are rooting yourself there, and there is the beginning of something needing to change there. And like I said, in the second position, in the conflict position, we have the release card over here, and we also have the Ace of Pentacles. So with the Ace of Pentacles, it came up in the reversed position. So it speaks about there being a conflict here where you are not feeling safe in following whatever you are trying to follow, because Ace energy is always somehow connected to the start of something. With the Pentacles, it could be of something material, so you starting a certain project, you working tangibly on some kind of idea and planting the seeds of that idea. Even the card shows basically this pentacle sprouting out from its seeds. And like I said, in the conflict position and also coming up reversed, it shows your fear of, if you proceed the way things are going, that there will be some kind of loss. There might also be an issue here that you are hyper-focusing a little bit on something, and this is making you miss the big picture. But either way, no matter from which perspective you are exactly looking at the situation, whether you are being too nitpicky or you are trying to take into consideration too many things, either way, you are seeing some kind of a loss. And on the oracle side, the conflict that came up for it is the release card, which speaks about you again being hesitant to release something similar to the Devil energy and the Rooted energy. Now, in the next position, which is the past position over here, we have the Moon card coming up reversed, as well as the Giving card on the other side. So it seems what happened in the past in this situation was that you had again some kind of fears that were blocking you and it from resolving in a more positive way. And there was some kind of issue in distinguishing between what was reality and what was an illusion and a fear of your mind. So basically, there was something in your way of thinking which was not optimal and which made you unable to process what was really happening in this situation. It's interesting that on the other side we have like the totally opposite energy, not energy but imagery. So if we take the Moon card and look at it, it's really dark. It is the night, it is the moon, and it is our main character lady who is sinking alone to the bottom of the sea. It very much gives this sense of aloneness and not knowing in which direction to go, and kind of hopelessness, and also just the general idea of something being hidden, something being scary, yeah, and something being confusing, something just not being completely clear. And on the other side, we have a completely different imagery. To tell you the truth, I have not encountered the Giving card till this point, so I am not completely sure how it can be interpreted. But the way I am seeing it is that there was probably a point in the situation in the past of you giving somehow too much of yourself. And I'm guessing it came, of course, from a positive place, because when we give to people, we do it from the goodness of our heart normally. But you know how good intentions can basically lead you to hell. So maybe those good intentions that you put while everything seemed happy and sunny outside, maybe that slowly started to deplete you, and also came to a point where you reached this unclear judgment, let's say. So I feel like in the past there was some kind of movement from that like more positive energy to the point where you got lost somehow. Let's say it that way. In the present energy, we have the Four of Cups in the reversed position, and on the other side, we have the Nature Boy card. So, what it seems is that presently you are still being quite negative in your view towards this situation and how it's gone down up till this point. You just seem to have a fixation on the negative aspect of it, and you are looking at it through a pessimistic lens. What will help you from this present moment onwards will definitely have to do with you stepping back a little bit from that negative perspective and practicing some gratitude. Even if it's for the smallest things, what the present is asking of you is to basically stop complaining and move yourself in the direction of a new perspective. With the Four of Cups energy, it is very much the energy of sitting on our ass and contemplating something without necessarily doing anything. And coming up, especially in the reversed position, it can speak about us being so stuck in the past and in looking at the negative that happened, that we miss something positive of the present moment. And there is, of course, the possibility that when we miss something, it's not going to come around anytime soon. Not saying this is something that will necessarily happen in your situation, but it's just one of the symbologies of this energy and of this card. It asks of you to get off of your ass, turn your head a little bit, and look at the beautiful things that surround you. And with the nature boy card, I would say that a potential helpful way to do this as well will probably be through connecting somehow with nature. Maybe you need to clear your head a little bit, and taking a walk through the forest or through the park if you're in a city really helps with focusing your thoughts and kind of moving out of that self-dramatization that we sometimes do. The key here will, of course, be if this is the road you choose in order to clear your head a little bit. You know, the most basic thing, like don't put on music to distract you, or a podcast, or some kind of inspirational video or anything. Just take some time for yourself and listen to the sounds of nature to calm down your mind. I also want to say, not necessarily that has to do anything to do with the cards I'm seeing. It's just an idea that came up to my mind because I remembered about a YouTuber I watch who discussed that when she is basically feeling ungrateful and bitchy, she goes to like a soup kitchen or whatever. She does some kind of charity with people specifically, so she can take a step back from her privileged little lifestyle and see the realities of other people and what they are doing. And this helps her to distance herself from her pessimism of whatever is happening. Because whatever is happening, there is always a possibility of it being much, much worse. So, although, of course, everybody should take their time to suffer whatever they're going through, even if it seems like the smallest thing, there is just this point where enough is enough. You need to get off of your ass under the tree and start doing something. And having said that, moving on to the next card, which is the future card. On the one hand, we have the Nine of Cups, and on the other hand, we have, what does it say? I am blind. I think it's satisfaction. Oh no, it is not even close. It is intuition. Good. By the way, this intuition card is very much giving me, I don't know why, I remembered this song all of a sudden, like the Mulan song, which is Colors of the Wind. Maybe because when I imagine colors, it looks something like this card, but you know how she sings about the nature and the animals and connecting with them. So again, I feel like this might be a message for you in general. Nature might help you connect with your intuition, or even music if you feel so inclined. Maybe go ahead and listen to the Colors of the Wind a couple of times. Maybe it will inspire you or calm you somehow. Yes, basically help you connect with your intuition to pull yourself out of this negative energy that you're currently in. And yes, as to the Nine of Cups, the Nine of Cups is a really positive card. So it is definitely giving the hope that you will move out of this negative state of mind, and there will be some kind of win in this situation. It's just the Nine of Cups is one of the happiest cards in the tarot deck. Is general. It speaks about some kind of wish fulfillment, somehow stepping forward, the universe granting you something that was near and dear to your heart for a long time and maybe caused you sorrow up to this point. There is just this feeling of the pressure falling from your shoulders, and you can finally spring up with joy like the lady on the card. So I would definitely say this is in the future of this situation. You just need to take some action in that direction, of course. Nothing falls in our lap completely. And as to the last cards that came up in the resolution, position, the last position, we have the reversed Six of Swords, and we also have the, let's see, because I am blind, the waiting card. Okay, so with the Four of Swords coming up in the reversed position, it speaks again about two things. On the one hand, it is very much the energy of needing to take a little bit of a break, because if you don't, you might burn yourself out. There is the aspect of this card of this break needing to happen also just for the health of your heart, so to say. Basically, the Four of Swords comes after the Three of Swords, which is your typical heartbreak card of the deck. And after you go through that experience, you need to take a little bit of a break to recharge. We can't always be running ahead and running ahead. There will be some kind of aspect to this situation of you taking care of yourself and not pushing yourself. With the waiting card, it is the same idea. You need to find a balance of not running haphazardly towards something just because you want to get out of this energy as fast as possible. You will need to rest a little bit. Again, I am mentioning just with the caveat, because this card is valuable. Like we discussed, in the present position, the thing that you need to move out of energetically is kind of similar. So this is something where you would need to draw the exact balance for yourself, and I know that you would feel it internally, because there is the conflict on both sides of this situation, where you should rest and recuperate to move forward, but you also shouldn't be just sitting around being negative. And rest, and it's not laziness, the word I'm looking for, but there is a difference between truly resting and just sitting down or doing nothing or laying around or avoiding your responsibilities. I hope you understand what I mean. This is the balance you're gonna have to strike in your situation to resolve it and to move forward. So rest, real wholehearted rest, so to say, where you are truly recharging both mentally, emotionally, and physically, is a total yes for you. But just sitting around and not doing anything and continuing to dig yourself deeper and deeper into negativity, this will not be the way forward. Okay, I hope that this made sense and that it was helpful, and I wish you all the luck. Hello, pile 3. If you chose this orange and red kitty, which is licking its paw, come on, focus. There we go. Such a cute little kitty. Then this is your part of the reading. Okay, now focus on the cards. Very nice. Awesome, let's get into it. So, starting off with the two cards which represent the main issue of your situation, or also the main person or character. We have the reversed Strength card buried under here, and we also have the Serenity card on the other side. So the way I am seeing it is that the major issue in your situation is tightly connected to your emotional state. And on the one hand, that your emotional state is probably very shaky and volatile at this time and regarding this issue, and that there is a strive of you to achieve this peace signified by the Serenity card, but there is just something getting in your way. Like you have some kind of blockage. This blockage can very well have to do with you feeling out of control in the situation, you feeling a lack of power, feeling like you can't bring things in the direction and to the result you are hoping for. There is just some kind of fear blocking things and making them even more difficult. Like you are basically doubting yourself somehow here. And there is probably also the issue of you, on the one hand, yes, not feeling like you have control over the situation, but also not necessarily having control over your own actions and emotions. You basically might be feeling like a ticking time bomb in this situation. Or if not you personally, then there's an aspect of this situation which is signified by this energy. And on top of it, in the position of the conflict, we have the Six of Wands and the Metamorphosis card. Now, what this is giving me in terms of conflict is there might be some resistance to change with the metamorphosis. You know how butterflies start off as an ugly cocoon and then have to go through all of those painful changes to finally come out on the other side as their butterfly self. There is a fear and resistance to that change. And with the Six of Wands, there, on the one hand, there is the potential that a part of the conflict and the fear has to do with achieving success. But what this is more so giving me is that there is probably a fear of letting go a part of your personality, a part of the way you have shown yourself to the world forever, and being afraid of letting that die, leaving it behind, and discovering a completely new version of yourself. With the Six of Wands, a potential manifestation of this identity could be someone who is very much in the spotlight, who is fearless, who shows themselves off, who is admired. So this could be the personality that you have shown up to this point and that you're now afraid of letting go. Or if those are not necessarily your characteristics, then it's just the general energy of I was always approved for these qualities. I was always treasured and cheered on because of them. And now I am afraid of letting them go and showing some kind of different version of myself. It's that type of energy. Then moving on to the past energy, which is signified by the Three of Wands, as well as the Adoration card. So it again gives the feeling that in the past there was, on the one hand, with the Three of Wands, some aspect of the situation which made you feel that you are blocked somehow by being afraid of it, by being afraid of dreaming something bigger than you were regarding this situation. And with the Adoration, again, this idea that you were rewarded and admired for certain characteristics, for acting in a certain way. And this thing from the past is still keeping you stuck in the same place, wanting to stay in the same way of acting and thinking. But the thing is that this is only the past, and it is not even optimal past, because there is something in it which had a blocking influence on you. I am saying this mainly because like the Three of Wands came in the reversed position. So it's like this energy didn't manifest necessarily in its positive way. It's not like you felt super energetic and giving this thing, this situation, all you've got and chasing it, which would be like more so the energy if the Three of Wands was in its upright position. The energy that it gave is just fear and feeling stuck and feeling like things are happening slow. And if we move then forward to the present position, we have the the Nine of Pentacles and also the Queen card. So with the Nine of Pentacles, this is showing that even at the present moment, there is some kind of imbalance. It could be material as well, but it could also speak about the relationship that you have with a certain aspect of yourself, also with like your self-esteem. There might be this not need, but this pressure you feel to show yourself in a certain way, especially in a certain successful way, because the Pentacle energy have to do with our material possessions and our material success. So it seems that there is still some kind of pressure of you presenting yourself in certain ways and keeping up some kind of image. Even on the other side of the cards, we have the Queen card, which is, you can imagine what the archetype of a queen would be. Like, it's all show, it's all for the people. It doesn't really matter what's going on behind the scenes, as long as we can maintain appearances. So even presently, this is still continuing to be your energy. And the Nine of Pentacles asks of you to re-examine that relationship that you have with yourself, with your work, with the way you see yourself and the things you value, because there is some kind of imbalance here, and it is robbing you either from the general reward of the situation, so maybe you're experiencing some kind of financial setback because of it, but if not, it is at the very least robbing you from enjoying the fruits of your labor up to this point. And it's like you can have all the success and the money in the world, but if you are not feeling satisfied with yourself and you are not enjoying what you have, does it really matter? I mean, I'm sure there are plenty of rich people in the world who are miserable and drink and do drugs and probably even throw themselves off of buildings or whatever. Like, having success by someone else's merit doesn't necessarily mean all too much. And moving on then to your future energy, we have the Empress card, and we also have the Mystic card from the Oracle deck. And the Empress came up in the reversed position. So the future as it stands right now still shows some kind of disharmony being on the way. And I wouldn't be surprised, again, taking into consideration the other cards as well, if this disharmony is an effect of this conflict you have between the two sides of you, between the, let's say, more material, outwardly side and a deeper, more mystic, emotional, spiritual side. With the Empress there is this advice of you needing to pour a little bit more into your own cup, because she can be a marvelous presence for other people. Like the Empress energy is like the mother energy. You can see even in this card, she is depicted as giving birth to the world. So this is one tough lady, like don't get me wrong in the slightest. But no matter how much energy you have to give, if you don't give some of it back to yourself, sooner or later, all of your resources will be depleted. So the future and moving out of this situation will, at least to some extent, have to do with you pouring a little bit more in your own cup and taking some time for taking care of yourself. Like, don't always put the opinions or the wants of other people before your own. There is again also the message of you potentially being a little bit too focused on the material side of things and being maybe a little bit too worried about the things that you put out into the world. So there might also be an aspect of this where you are just asked to create without attaching some kind of necessary value or expecting some kind of return from it necessarily. And with the Mystic card, I would say that this is a confirmation of you turning more in the direction of following that creative compass, like that creative impulse and that spiritual and emotional impulse, and again moving away from opinions and appearances. And the last two cards that came up in the resolution position, we have the Fool card as well as the Magic card. And the Fool card asks of us, above all else, to be fearless in taking a leap in some new direction. So basically the Fool card, it is the first card of the deck. It is the energy of someone who is young and maybe naive and still unhurt from the world. So they are not burdened by experiences that tell them I can't do this or I shouldn't do that. They have the impulse, they have the potential, they have the determination, and they have the Abenteuerlust. They have the want and the need to go on an adventure. And this is the energy that will help you to also resolve this situation. You need to close your eyes a little bit and just move towards the direction that's calling you. And this will also be the point where things will start flowing, where some kind of new creation will basically come about. Like you can't you can't do something new unless you take the first step. Pile 3, no matter how small or big it is, it's just taking one step after another. Once you do that, that will also be the point where everything just magically starts to fall into place. Like you have all the capabilities. The Magic card is very much giving me also the energy of the Magician card from the tarot. So it is that everything is in your hands, but like we discussed in the previous cards, there is something about moving away from outside opinion, outside recommendation, outside not even judgment, but rather rules, and following an inkling from the inside. Okay, I hope that this made sense and it was helpful, and I wish you all the luck.